From a young age, many of us learn unspoken rules about gender, how women should behave, how much space we're allowed to take, what's praised and what's quietly discouraged. Most of us don't question these rules at first. We simply adapt or we adjust. This episode is about examining the expectations we've inherited and asking whether they still serve who we're becoming. This is Unspoken. Today on Unspoken, we are exploring the gender roles women were taught to live by. With me, I have an incredible panel of women who are coming from various backgrounds, and I can't wait to talk with you guys about the expectations that we currently have been shaped by. So, I want to get started with you guys introducing who you are, where you're from, what you do. We'll start with you, Foza.
Hi guys, my name is Fuza Fawemi. I am a Pan-African creative economy lawyer and creative industrialist based in Lagos, functioning in the world. I am from Lagos. No, actually, I'm from Ondo State, but I'm based in Lagos and I'm a world traveler. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you. So, hi everyone. My name is Ruth. I am dominating the healthcare and the IT sector. I've been in the healthcare IT sector for the past 5 years now. I am originally from Delta State and Imo State. Depends on what you want to, I don't know. Just depends on what day it is. But also, I'm also someone that I grew up in the States, but I did just recently move back to Lagos, Nigeria. So I'm excited to see what this conversation is about. Of course.
Hi everyone. My name is Chisom Pamadi. I work in international development. My work focuses on giving people access to social infrastructure that typically they are excluded from. So whether it's healthcare, whether it's jobs, whether it's access to financial inclusion as well. Um, well, um, I live in Lagos. I'm from Imo State. When I'm not working, I'm just catching up with people and, focusing on my community as well.
Nice one.
So my name is Ayodeji Michael Oni, fondly known as MTish. I'm social impact entrepreneur, a mental health activist. Yes, and a psychotherapist. Yeah, I'm from Kogi State, and I'm just a simple. I'm a mother of four.
All right, so we are going to dive right in with a quick fire question for each of you today. When you think about how you've grown up in your homes, particularly the gender norms that happen in your home and what you've seen in your environment, I want you to finish the sentence. Women should be ... Anyone can take the floor.
Women should be outspoken and free.
Okay. Wait. The
Exactly.
gender rules, not what you think you should be, but what you
Yeah.
witnessed. This
In my household, yeah,
Women
women
should
should
be
be bold.
bold.
Yeah.
Oh, so based off our own personal.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reality of
What happened?
Yes.
Okay. So in my household, women should be quiet.
Oh, yeah. I think it's quite the opposite. Women should be assertive. I do not know a non-assertive woman in my family. So we're all assertive women. So women should be assertive.
Okay, so from my own angle is women should be homemakers. Yeah.
Okay. So now I want to do the opposite. I want you to think about a word for women with a trait that we have that genuinely say that we should suppress something inside of us.
Humility.
Like, say women shouldn't be outspoken.
It's based off of what the world tells us or what we face.
Yes. What is a trait in women that oftentimes people want you to?
I'm just going to quote my leader, Chimamanda Adichie, and say that you can be ambitious, but not too ambitious, I think that's where I typically find the would I say the push and pull. Yes, you would love a woman that, if you stay at home wife, why you stay at home wife? Don't you have any other things to aspire to? If you're ambitious, why are you so ambitious, So I feel like most times people want to box women into a perfectly built box that they think is perfect for a woman. So you can be this, but not too much of this, Just find somewhere in the middle and just sit there. Yeah.
And what? Okay, so I was gonna say the word I was saying that society feels as though women should just be breeders. So that's it. That's just how they view women, especially in the United States. But I know we're not talking about the United States.
No, but where do you think that idea comes from?
From patriarchy, of course. That's it. That's all women are good for is breeding and cooking and cleaning. So
I dare say from religion.
Yeah, and religion as well. Yeah.
We have to unpack that.
Um, culture too.
So
Yeah, culture. Yes.
I mean, you agree with religion, but not agree. No, you agree with culture, but not agree with religion.
No, of
No,
possibly
for
I
her.
agree with religion. I agree with religion.
Culture shapes a lot of the religions that we see today. So if you really think about the context in which the Bible was written, a lot of times it was through the lens of, a patriarchal society and what was allowed and what was not allowed then. I mean, I'm sure if, we had the opportunity to rewrite the Bible now,
A lot of
a lot of things
yeah.
would change. So that's why I'm like, religion.
So, question: in all of the 5,000, 10,000 years we've lived, no matriarchal point of view to write the Bible.
So I think there are several matriarchal points of view in the Bible. I mean, there are specific stories that you can speak on. There's the story of Ruth. There is the story of
That's
Esther.
not
There's the
that's
story
not a
of
matriarch problem. That's from a patriarchy point of view.
yeah, but also it shapes the way women. It portrays the way women were perceived in those days. So even though it was within a patriarchal society, you will still see a lot of women that stood up and rose to the to the fore of the occasion, even if it wasn't in a, oh, let's pick up spear and go and fight, but in the way that women, we are soft and we are nurtured, and we are 2 steps ahead, we are thinking, we are calculating.
Yes.
You could say it, you see, with the story of, I think it was Esther, and she said, okay,
Deborah.
yeah, Deborah, she's like, oh, my king, let me do this, let me do this. She already knew what she wanted to ask, but instead of going all battle or gunamba, like the Igbo people would say, you're more, you're more in your softness, and you know how to get what you want. So that's why when people say Bible, I'm always like,
I mean, I hear you, but I think generally religion is very unfair to women. So
Yeah.
I mean, your explanation is from a very educated perspective, and so I can appreciate it as a fellow educated person.
Yeah,
But
so
I think like generally religion is unfair to women. I'll give you an example. You're speaking about something of how like in the soft era of the woman, they were able to bring out something, and I really dislike the word soft. Now, and I'll tell you why. I've been in places where I've lost deals because they're just like, oh, you're so brash. I'm not doing anything, it's just the way I talk. Right? So over I know in my 20s, I struggled trying to soften my voice. Now, it's not born you way. I'm good at my job. If you don't want to get out, right? But that came from a like, oh, I want you to yearn for me. I want you to soft. I want you so that I can protect you. So
Oh
I can,
no.
and you got there was one time I went for a singles meeting in church, and this pastor, a popular pastor now on this Freedom Way, this Okeke Expressway, he was there giving you virtuous woman. So I so raised up now. I said, first question. I said, what is the counterpart to a virtuous woman? Like, what is the man? He spent almost an hour looking for Bible text. That pastor needs to no, I'm like the same way like Proverbs 31 that they help you read details. Proverbs is one. I said, okay, so what is the Samuel chapter 4 man? Right? Because it's like you're telling me to be this certain way, and I'm going to go and meet someone that is not as like so when you say, oh, a woman, in your softness, you use it to control, you use my like a lot of negative words to what is supposed to be the quality of women. Is like you say, oh, women control men. I don't want to control you. You are both adults. Why am I controlling you?
Yeah.
Now I look like a manipulator.
But I don't think
I'm going to call you out.
I think the choice of words also.
Yes.
I would rather say influence. And that's what we call our the people that make decisions, the influencers. We don't call them controllers. We don't call them manipulators.
Agreed.
Because when I influence is subtle.
Yeah. It's nicer.
It's subtle, it's nicer. I'm not enforcing, I'm not imposing.
Just like the Holy Spirit.
Right? If you choose to. And that's what we're saying, is influence. If you accept, no one is forcing it on you, no one is forcing it on you. And that's it, which is what we're talking about, the religion and the grassroots level. So a lot of us are where we are because we accepted the no. So that if we begin to question the no, and that's where the change comes in. So you can tell me I'm soft, I accept that I'm soft, but I can still make things happen. So I don't label myself. This things, I'm gonna be talking from my own my profession, right? So there's this internalization where we've internalized the norms. We've been told a woman should be soft spoken. A woman should be like this. You must be, womanly, the way you because you like it, smile, all of that. Those things are just norms, and you can challenge the norm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I was going to add something to what you said about the Proverbs 31 woman. There's a particular verse there that says her husband is respected amongst his peers or something like that. Yeah. So if you read further down, you see a lot of things that they said about her husband.
Yes.
And if you're someone that is respected amongst your peers, obviously you are a person of integrity. You are, you have good character. You're good character and good repute. So there's also, I feel like
No industry, just good character.
no, Fosa, let's read the entire thing if you have some time. But like the point I'm trying to make is that for every Proverbs 31 woman, there's also a Proverbs 31 man at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Like,
Ephesians.
yeah, Ephesians. So somewhere in the Bible there are things that, the way you describe a man that, should be that should be able to attract a Proverbs 31 woman or something.
Virtuous woman we can find. I think there's also a place that say
Yes,
faithful man.
a faithful man. I was also, talking about the term soft. So, like Mtish said, sometimes words are just words until you maybe allocate a meaning to it, and sometimes it could be negative, it could be positive. I don't I don't mind being described as soft. I don't mind being described as ambitious. I don't mind being described as hard. I don't mind being described as anything as long as they are me. Right. So these words also represent who I am. Right. And you're not trying to give me the identity of some other person. If you say, oh, Chisom wakes up at 5 a.m. every day and she does the ice bath thing and she does that's not me. Even though that's contextually good, that's good behavior, but that's not me. If you say Chisom is soft, Chisom is this, Chisom is that, I can also accept that. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing, but I hear you and I agree that sometimes when people use the term soft for women, there is a certain expectation, as if maybe I want to say subservience. Maybe there is subservience,
Like submissive.
so
or
submissive is
something.
not even like like a weaker, like
Yeah.
subservient.
But why would it be synonymous with weak?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I
I was
honestly,
gonna say I
don't
want
know.
to
I
be.
would- I would
I
want
actually
to-
don't mind being soft. I don't see the. I mean, you can be as strong as you want to be, but me, I don't mind being.
And I agree with that. Like, it's fine.
The point is, women
But
can
the
choose.
problem now is that those of us that have decided that we don't
Okay,
want to be
that's
labeled
fair.
as that,
Yeah.
That's fair.
we're not looking like, oh, so you're still there, so that's why you're not married. Because they're not so let them love you.
Yeah.
Let them take care of you.
Yeah.
Like you're an invalid. But it's like, bruh, now I think it annoys me more when in terms of the corporate speak, right? So in the corporate world, is like, okay, what your male boss would typically overlook, not because you are wrong, where you just chose to overlook it. But you come to me and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to overlook it because 10 steps down the line, I'm going to suffer for it. So I'm going to cut the nonsense from here. She's a bitch. She's a wicked boss. They intimidate their this thing.
Yeah.
But
What's the synonym of bitch for men?
there is a tough guy. Boss.
Yeah.
He's a boss. Oh, it's no nonsense. But I'm the bitch.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Fair.
But it's
That
just
is
like
true. I could see that.
there are people that, like you say, maybe mentally don't have that strength to be like, yo, I'm trying to do the right thing here, and you are labeling me like this, and they break under it, right? Those of us that we have coconut head and we finish it, we're the ones referred to as, oh, they are brash, oh, they are, don't talk to them, Margaret Thatcher, bulldogs.
So I also think that we need to be careful so that we by ourselves don't label ourselves.
Yes.
So I know I can be very firm, but I wouldn't see myself as I don't have to be a Margaret Thatcher to be firm,
Period.
to be audacious. So I have a friend that is just an exact of Foza. She's very brash. Like she gives it hot. But at the same time, she wouldn't even you can't even label her. Because the result speaks. And that's what I think is important at the end of the day.
You think label in public? Because these things, and I get it that we want to
Okay.
be all kumbaya positive speaking, but
Yeah.
it's just like, These are the issues. And I'll tell you why. Like,
Okay.
3 years ago, I was on the point of killing myself. And it was because of this type of conversations. Like, I don't care about it, but at the point, it had accumulated and I was in an environment that I couldn't get out of, and it was just the only thing I was hearing. And, you know, I was brought up to be bold and audacious. You are like, I speak my mind because that's who my mother is. But then you get to this place in the corporate space, nobody talks to you about, and you're just like this. So you're there for
It's
like
like a
2
blocker.
years.
Yeah.
For 2 years.
That's
And
frustrating.
so
Yeah.
at that point, you're expressing, and everybody's like, a man would just probably, you know, I don't know what you would do, probably go and drink with his guys at the, you know, at the bar, and like they talk about it and they hook themselves up. But there's that loneliness for women in the, especially in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Then you start hearing, so you don't even have to label yourself. They label it for you. And there's so much your mental health can really take sometimes, right? And my thing is, I tell women, I'm just like, yeah, like you said, subconsciously you have to remove those things that people throw at you, but it's real. And you shouldn't be ashamed to accept that, oh, look, this is affecting me at this point.
Yeah.
You know, this is affecting me at this point. I don't want. It took me a long while to be able to sit down and tell someone, like, don't refer to me as soft.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy being called soft.
Let me ask you this. What gave you the permission to now flip the switch and say,
I turned 30.
Period. See?
That's it. Look, 30 is a beautiful turning point. You're coming to join us. You know, no, but I'm serious. I turned 30 and it was just like, at that point, you know, I'd done everything I wanted to do in my career, like for the period of time I'd set out to. And the normal trajectory of you get married, you give birth. After the one, they tell you the one is not enough, the two. So at the point, I was like, so at what point does it stop that you keep giving me what to do with my time? Right? So for me, at 30, I was just like, no. I'm going to take charge of my life.
Plan for
And it's going
yourself.
to happen when it happens. Anything that I plan for it to happen, it happens like according to what God is saying. So that's what gave me the permission.
That's good.
coming to you, Tish, because Fosa brought up some incredible points that there was a time where this level of topic
No.
made her consider almost taking her life.
Yeah.
So as a therapist, what type of feedback would you give to?
Okay, so I mean, I was actually going to say something to that, So a lot of times we don't even, and that's why I love conversations like this. Sincerely, I put my heart, and I began to call myself an activist because we need to push this narrative, like fiercely, because we've sent some persons to their early graves. There are a lot of avoidable deaths. A lot of times we think people were just hit by accident. They've died before the accident. So they just need something to help them. So I know someone that actually ran, before a vehicle. And so everyone says that she died by accident, but because she was a client, I knew.
Oh, shit.
She was a client. And so when they told me that it was a hit, I said no. I knew that she had told me that one day I will run in front of a vehicle and I'll die. And so these are the things that are obtainable because conversations like these are not being pushed. We want to box people. We want to call them who we think they should be. No. Let's allow for self-identity. Let's allow for, and they also need to get to a point where you also need to accept yourself the way you are.
I was just going to say that.
Self-acceptance.
Confidence is key. There's nothing you can tell me about me that I don't already know or I don't care. Like, I look in the mirror every day for a reason, right? I know my hair looks like, I know my nails look like, I know exactly who I am. So for you to come and fix your lips to tell me that my hair looks like this, I say, I trust me, I know. I looked in the mirror. So trust me, confidence is really key. So I'm going to say the same thing. Like, you really have to be like, you have to be able to ignore the comments because half the people that are even speaking about you, their lives are also miserable. So you have to.
But it's easy to also say this.
True.
It's very
something
easy.
It's something that develops with time.
Yes, intentionality is what I was even going to say. Because let's look at it. I say this every time I have an opportunity to speak like this, that the rotten egg always take the lead.
Thank you.
Put 4 eggs, good ones, beautiful, and just one rotten egg. And that's it about negative voices.
Yes.
Everyone has said, Fosa, you look so beautiful. And one person just goes and says, Fosa, why you can't look like this? You will forget everyone that has said you are beautiful. You go back home and you look into the mirror again.
Yes.
I say, why am I looking like this? And that's why there's that concept of self-talk. I think I've started from the end now. Self-talk. And so I tell people in my therapy, oh, I'm talking to you, we're doing psychotherapy, but please, can you just go back and talk to your mirror? That person in your
Yes.
mirror is the real
That's
therapist.
the voice that matters the most.
Yeah.
When you look at yourself and say, you know what, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
For me, when I was growing up, it was a matter of you're short, you're short, you're short. And with time, I began to give myself a self-concept. So I began to conceptualize my height for another thing. And you know what I told myself? Bible says that, lo, I am with you.
Amen.
I did not see that going there.
All right.
That's a good place to be.
Period.
Lo, I am with you. So I tell myself, empty, you are low. The Lord is with you. Amen.
Hallelujah, somebody.
Let me do mine. Narrow is
Okay.
the road.
Thank you. Also, you're too tall. Oh, I'm a son of the Most High God. Just have a self-concept. I say, you're too fair. I am the light of the world.
Simple.
Oh, you're too dark. The darkness cannot, light cannot work without me. You know, so you just have to have a self-concept. You say your nose is too big. My father knows everything. You see, so until you get to that place where it's all about you and you and you, and you shut these voices out.
Yes.
Because these guys in the end, you are going to be with yourself.
Yeah.
They will all go.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you, we never forced it on you.
Yeah.
We just said our own. It was
Yeah.
just our own concept.
Yes. In that moment.
That's their own concept. So if you accept it, it's going to destroy a lot of things.
Exactly.
And it's unfair to you because when you start to work in this prison that you put your mind into, you don't get to live the fullness of your life. You don't want to look back and be like, wow, because somebody said this, that somebody said that, I never lived to the height that I could be. So you do have to have a level of confidence and reaffirm yourself that you know who you are.
Yeah.
Even if it's looking in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful, I'm loved, I'm enough, I'm just, you have to
Affirmations.
actually take matters into your own hand. But
Yeah.
they don't teach that a lot.
Yeah.
They don't.
I wanted to add something to what you just said. There's this book called The Creative Lodge, and in that book, it lists about, I think the 6 most common human emotions. And I think to the extent that I can remember, I'm just going to, there is happiness, there is sadness, there is surprise, there is disgust, there is, I think, disappointment, and then there is anger. So these are the 6 of them. So out of the 6 of them, which one is positive? How many of them are positive? Happiness.
You have
Just one.
Just one.
more negative.
So you have more. Surprise could be positive or negative, but that's, but the one that is purely positive is just one. So you see that your brain is already fighting a losing battle. So when you now have people that now come and say, negative things about you, it's easier because your brain is such an interesting organ. It's both lazy and hardworking. But lazy in the way that familiar neural pathways, it doesn't want to form new ones. So the familiar things is what is going to always pull through, link you to. So if you keep surrounding yourself with negative talk, you are just, making your brain think and internalizing it. You're just making your brain think that, okay, this is all you're worth, right? And because it's so difficult to rechannel or refocus your mind on the positive, if you're not intentional about it, like you said, there is a tendency for you to absorb all these things and think it's your identity. Now, on top of that, I also, and apologies if I'm taking this back to the scripture, there is also the identity in Christ, which you must have. Because I'm a Christian, you have to, back what we were talking about earlier, what is your baseline?
Yeah.
What is your foundation? So your foundation could be, oh, you like to read books. That's fine. It brings you the best happiness or the most happiness. Your foundation could be, oh, I love self-care. When I get my hair done, I get my nails done, I feel 10 over 10. You can't tell me anything. I love this, I love it. For some people, it is until they go in front of the Blessed Sacrament and they are screaming and they are crying out, it could mean whatever to you. But so you must anchor your identity in something that is not transient, that doesn't change with time. If you anchor your identity on human beings, who are the, the most transient and fleeting objects in this world, you are a goner.
Yeah.
So you must anchor yourself onto something that never changes, is the same today, tomorrow, next tomorrow, all the time, before time, in time.
That, gentleman, is what you listen to when you're in your luteal phase.
That's
When you're in your
it.
follicular phase, what do you listen to?
Yeah.
When you are all alone, when there's no one
But
with you.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, I mean, I understand this perspective, but when you bring it back to the corporate world, right? There's still a blocker, right? Because if the men are in control and they're the ones who determine if you get to that higher up level, what is
So I'll tell you what I do. right? Which is kind of like, it's very, and I also, like you said, like the identity of who you are. Like,
Yeah.
at my core, I'm a disruptor,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't, when things become automated or like, I get bored.
Right.
So at that point, when I was facing that issue, I went back to my core. It took me a year to get back to my core. And when I go back there, it was just like, why are you doing things in your mouth? And I said, you know what? They're not going to allow me pass here. I'll pass the other route.
Or make
Amen.
make another way for myself.
Right?
Come
So,
on.
so I think at the end of, for you in the corporate world, I have a friend, Titi. I tell her, I say like, you're the yin to my yang when it comes to this corporate world. Titi would brilliantly use time to get what she wants. In very quietly, very softly, like you say, right? And me on the other end, I would break the entire table and the entire door, and I'll get there. But both of us will get there. So the thing is, I figured out that I know I'm gonna get here, but am I compelled to use Titi's style?
Strategy.
That probably will make me more miserable.
Yeah.
If Titi used my style, make me more miserable. So
Yeah.
when I got to that point, when I meet young women now, I just tell them, I say, look, you have your own superpower.
That's it.
You
Use
need to,
it.
yeah, you need to disrupt this,
Yeah.
but do it in your own superpower way. So
Yeah.
like from a corporate speak point of view, this identity is like, who am I really and what do I offer? Yeah. If you're confident in your value, you would figure it out.
Exactly.
So I was going to cite an example of a very a lady that is, I mean, she's on the big side. She occupies. So for her, I would say occupy till I come. I just have a word for everyone. For her, it's occupy till I come.
Wow.
And this lady was so positive about herself that, she got married at a time when a lot of us were still trying to find our paths, trying to find our foot. And she's always been saying it, I'm going to get married
Amen.
to a very good man, good looking. And you know when she says that, we tend to look at her, like, see who is talking. Because some of us were looking at our own physique, like we have the perfect to get it right. But guess what? A man came all the way from the US, from the States.
Hello.
And she was just doing her own thing. And the man said, you know what? I just love everything about you. Like the curves, everything. And she's not like double of who she was.
Yeah.
And she's still fine.
Yeah.
And they're still good. She kept saying it.
Yeah.
It sounded crazy to us. We kept saying, you better go and work on it. The parents will tell her, you, who will marry you? So for me, it's not even about what people say. It's about what you say.
100%.
Period.
Because the parents kept saying, who will marry you the way you are? I remember one of those times the mom came to visit us in school. And mom said, are you people not talking to your friend? See the way people look presentable.
That's also another thing we need to
Yeah, mothers and their daughters.
Even mothers, the moms. See, look at how you people look presentable. A man will come and carry you people. But no man came to carry us. A man came to carry the same person that they felt because she kept saying it.
So let me touch on that then.
Thank you.
Because sis, you guys did your Bible verse. Let me do my own Bible verse. So the Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. She wrote that vision. It also says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Perfect. Yeah.
She knew, and it's important to be confident. Who else is going to tell you that you're confident? So coming to you, Chisom. I spoke with someone about you prior to meeting you, and they just spoke about your level of confidence. They said from the crown of her head to the soles of her feet, she knows who she is. She
And
walked
that's
in
a
that
good
room, and she already knew.
testimony.
You don't have to tell her who
That's
she
a good
is.
one.
So for those of us who may want to have another layer of confidence, what do you suggest for them?
That's very interesting. Earlier on when we were doing the round of intros, I asked one word to describe maybe to describe women, growing up, and I said, women should be assertive, right? So that was, I think, some years ago, I was talking to a former boss of mine, and I just said, I don't think I know a woman in my family that is not assertive. I don't think, from my mom to my sisters to my grandmothers to my aunts, and everyone just has their own way of getting things done. But all in all, they speak their truths, they stand up for themselves, they get things done. So that is already an edge that I have, just by the way I grew up. Also having parents that, fanned the flames of curiosity, then my dad will say something. I'd be like, okay, you're like, why are you just saying okay? Can't you ask me questions? Or you ask him, oh, what's the meaning of this? I have dictionaries in this house. Go and look it up yourself, So just encourage that curiosity. So I think that is an edge that I have. And I thank God for that opportunity. But I also think that confidence is something that you have to, the price is paid every day. Right? You can't just say, oh God, I'm confident. That's it.
You pray about it.
Exactly. The price is paid every day. And the price is paid by, I think Foza mentioned to it as well, mentioned something like that as well. Knowing your value, right? Knowing your worth. So for example, when I got, the message that, oh, I was going to speak on this, and I got, the details, I had to do my research.
Yeah.
I had to, ask questions. I had to, go to ChatGPT and say, okay, this is a topic, oh yeah, let's brainstorm, let's talk about this, So it helps me also show up as the best version of myself, because I'm prepared. When I'm not prepared, I always feel like it comes across. Although some people say, oh, you killed it, but deep within me, I still know that that's not my
Could have
best.
done
I
better.
could have done better, right? So it's like the rent is due every day. You must prepare for it. And then secondly, back to that thing we were saying, is like identity. I also struggled with my identity. I remember, there was a time a very close friend of mine, male friend of mine, said, we are having, a misunderstanding. I said, Chisom, you have presence. You don't know if you have presence. And to me, that was the first time I heard it from someone that, oh, I said, what does presence mean? Do you mean like I walk into a room, like everybody walks into a room and everybody notice, like you would notice the person? And he says, no, it's not like that for everybody. Sometimes people are wallflowers, but there is a gift that you have. And that was when I started, thinking about it really, to say, okay, what does presence mean? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? How do I lean into it? How do I harness it? So instead of, at first, it kind of shook me to my core, because I wouldn't want to be that person. We were talking about it earlier, and I said, I don't like fame. I don't like attention, right? I have a chronic fear of being seen for some reason. So when you're telling me that I am automatically the center of attention, even without asking for it, it's like,
How did we get
do you
here?
understand? It's like, okay, how do I shrink myself so that I'm not seen? But then I remember that, oh, I have a purpose in this life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have a calling. I've been called to do some great things in this life, and I'm not going to get there if I'm shrinking.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get there if, I'm not putting my best foot
So you're
forward.
gonna be famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Okay, we'll see.
I'm celebrating your fame already.
I don't know about that one, honestly, but like, I really want to, I think one thing that really helps me was, okay, leaning into it, like you said, like, okay, this is my superpower, right? Okay, let's lean into it. What does that mean? It means that, okay, I have to keep showing up whenever I'm called upon. It means I have to keep preparing. So it's just, confidence is not one thing you just wake up and that, oh snap, I'm very confident, nobody can tell me anything anymore. But it's like knowing yourself, being rooted in your own identity, whatever it is to you. If you're a Christian, please be a Christian. If you're a Muslim, please be a Muslim. If you, whatever you believe in, hold on to it and understand it, so that it forms your baseline. If not, if you keep holding on to transient things, then you will keep shaking. Then also be prepared, stay prepared, basically. The more you're prepared, the more you will keep showing up as, the best version of yourself. And when people tell you certain things, you can listen to them or hear them, but it's entering from this ear and it's leaving the other ear, because you know who you are. Right? And I mean, you have community around you that also affirm who you are. So even when you don't believe in yourself, let's say Cynthia, we are friends, right? I don't believe in myself, but I believe in you. But this period, I don't believe in myself. And I look at you and you're like, oh, Chisom, I believe in you. Because I believe in you. And I know that, lion know the born goats. Like,
Come on,
you
lion
cannot
born
befriend,
lion.
Your
You
belief
you
will
cannot
help my
befriend a
baby.
goat. your belief will fuel my belief. Do you
Yeah.
understand? I'll be like, okay, I'm leaning into your belief in me right now,
Yeah.
even though I don't feel it, but because I know that, oh, you're such a badass, you're killing it and everything. For you to believe in me, that means you're seeing something in it, right? So having your community affirm you is such an important thing, because most times you'll not hear from God.
Yeah.
It's the people He has placed around you that can affirm you,
speaks
and they're like, oh yeah, yeah.
I remember when, like, just in the corporate world, like, one of my blockers then was that someone, like, the community I built made me feel like I wasn't getting investors because I didn't know how to speak to investors. Right. So for like almost 2 years, I internalized that. Like, just like, oh yeah, the industry is unfair. You know, they gatekeep money, they gatekeep this. Yeah, and because someone had said it and just dropped it, I was like, oh, you don't know how to talk to investors.
And you
Mind-
meditated on it.
Yeah, mind
Within
you,
your community?
yeah,
Oh my
mind you,
goodness.
I had brought the investor. Had spoken, the person had spoken to me at first, and I went to my community and said, guys, I've scored this big guy. I need to guide me through, you know, I know you've had business dealings with him before. Let's figure it out. What do I need to say? What are we presenting? And it's like, oh no, let the other guy go speak.
Oh my.
Because like you don't know how to.
Oh my.
And
Wow.
and I was like, what does that mean? Then the other guy was like, no, you know, you didn't mean it like that. It's just, you know, we've been. And for like a year after that, anytime I get like a brief and there needed to be a closer, I'll be like, oh no, you know, close it. You know, because he's a man. You know, because you know he understands how this. Oh, they go to the club together, they
does
speak
that
about
even
it.
mean?
You know, and I internalized it like for the longest. And I think it was like 2 years ago, the biggest deal in my life. And the person just called me and we had a 10 minutes conversation. He was like, all right, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm like, what do you mean you're gonna give it to me? It's like, yeah, I trust you. I was just like, huh? So when I finished the first part of the brief and we're having a conversation, and it's just like, you need to give yourself credit, you know, credit.
Yeah.
You like,
Absolutely.
like you need to have since then. But if I talk to you, you don't accept, I'll come back and talk to you.
And this is another good
Yeah.
point. Congrats on that. It's like you practice how you play.
Yeah.
A lot of people are scared to get in the ring or the court.
Yeah.
You need to have some type of confidence builder. All right, so coming to you, Ruth. You are currently a founder. You've also had some work in the IT arena as well, and these are very male-dominated spaces.
Yeah.
What would you say you've experienced in the indie spaces as a woman?
Definitely the same. Like that's why I was asking her more so about the, the blocker and everything. I would definitely agree. As a woman in the tech space, male dominated space, they do expect you to show up a certain way. And the first things is I feel like men treat you differently in the space if you're pretty, right? I've noticed that a lot of the pretty, soft girls, they look at them like you don't know what you're talking about, right? Yeah, exactly. But then once they see the more masculine, dominated, not trying to call you masculine,
Oh no, it's
but,
fine, girl.
okay, but once they see that harder woman,
Yeah,
they bring her to their level, And as someone, I honestly I want soft money, so I'm going to get paid regardless, right? So I've had to learn. I don't actually want to reach the level of VP at somebody else's company. Absolutely not. That's why I no longer work in corporate under someone else's terms. I have my own now because I don't want to work for men. I rather work with men. Because at the end of the day, like we can make the same money. Don't think that you run me over here when it comes to funds.
Do you think they hinder you though, or something?
No, they don't hinder me. It's just I don't want you to feel like your voice is louder than mine, or your voice is more important than mine. So that's definitely what I would say.
I think just to buttress, you know, your point, right? And one of the reasons why I started my own thing,
Yeah.
because I used to be in a partnership with men, but then I started my own thing. And one of the things I said to myself was, no woman is gonna feel unheard
Yeah.
in this company, right? And if you ask my staff, you like the guys were like, "Oh, you celebrated Women's Day last year. You didn't celebrate Men's Day." I'm like, am I supposed to sit down?
Maybe a
with
man
you
should decide when men's
the
day
man-
is.
I'm like, the company is gonna approve the budget for you to do the men's stuff, but I'm not gonna sit down with you and be having a conversation on Men's Day. And when we're doing the feedback for the year, and I asked my team, I said, give the company feedback, and we're like, they feel very safe. And that made me feel good because that was one of my agenda, setting out to make sure that every woman, everybody feels safe and heard, but like every woman that works with me feels safe and they feel heard. So I do get your point. Like, I mean, sometimes money is good, then you walk
money
away
is
from
good,
it, then
yeah.
you're suffering entrepreneurship in Nigeria. It's a different type of suffer.
Girl.
You know, so but you just like just to define that environment for I'm a lawyer and the legal space is not very friendly to you. If you're young, then you're a woman.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a double minority.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like you're double minority, right? And I had that issue because I faced a lot of, and funny thing I tell people that growing up in my career, I faced a lot of ageism, right?
Girl.
Then when I clocked
Yes.
30,
Mm-hmm.
I started facing my own sexism. It's very funny, right? Like most people, like it was until I got to the top, I started facing my own feminism. So when I would go for an interview when I was much younger, they'd be like, "So you know, how do you manage it in the men's world?" I was genuinely confused. I was just be like, you know, like I give some weird answer because I really didn't understand it. It was when I clocked 30 and I started like when I was transitioning from where I used to work to, I realized that oh damn. Wow, this is real. And I think sometimes I just apologize to a lot of people. I'm like, I'm sorry I didn't understand what you were going through. Now I understand it. And when I speak to my senior mentors in the corporate world, they're like, yeah, man, this is what we go through. I'm like, but why don't you talk about it? They're like, so who do you really want to talk to about it? Because you've given that illusion that you're strong. You dare not come out and say you're weak. That's kind of like the perception. So one of the things I tell my older mentors now is like, yo guys, you need to speak up. So like I push them and I'm like, you need to speak up because the younger people coming behind us need to know that it's okay to feel this way and it's okay to reach out to another woman that is in on the same level so you guys can grab a coffee and talk about it. You know, that's the thin line between you killing yourself and you staying alive.
And it's also funny you mentioned, you know, like ageism and, you know, sexism. But in this, I'm actually like, my experience is more so in the States, right? So in the States, working in corporate, there's another thing we have to face is racism, right? Especially as a Black woman.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's out. Sometimes I'll be the only Black woman in my meetings. So now they expect so much more from me. And if I don't deliver, now it's as if, I
still the
don't
person
know what
with
I'm
the-
doing,
yeah.
or I don't know what I'm talking. The whole time, the white male next to me probably knows less than me. But you know, because he's a white male, it's okay. Like they won't even notice that he doesn't know. But I definitely had to experience more so. I won't say racism, but definitely I could see the difference in how they spoke to me versus how they spoke to the white man. So yeah.
And when you point it out, they make you feel look crazy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
Or not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to talk about the ageism thing, right? Because, you know, God has been faithful and, you know, being where I am right now at such a young age, sometimes getting meetings with certain people is even hard.
Yeah.
And even this is both men and women, right? And sometimes they look at you like, oh, this small girl, you know, what do you know? You know, I was here 50 years before they even received you, you know, things like that. I mean, they don't come out to say it, but there's definitely that aura, you know. And one thing I have learned is one thing my mom taught me is in every relationship, one person must be the fool. You don't have to be the fool all the time, but it's a great oscillation. You know, someone has to really, really be dumb and say, you know what? I want this thing to work. And this doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. It's also like in the workplace as well. I'm very happy to be the fool. I'm very happy to play dumb. I'm very happy to be the clueless 31-year-old girl that needs your help all the time. You know, oh, what does this mean? Okay, got you. Let's meet by 2 p.m. Right? Okay, got you. You know, so I'm very happy to do all of that, you know, but meet me in the meeting room, then we'll know, you know, who is really the, you know, who knows what and who doesn't know what. So as long as I get what I want done, I don't mind taking a back seat. I don't mind being a little bit more
Mid back.
yeah, on the back, you know, thinking that you're playing one over me or you know, or you know better than me. I don't mind that, you know. And it's also something about there was something I think it was Foza or Ruth that mentioned it.
Sexism?
Was it sexism?
Ageism, colorism.
Sorry, racism. There was something you meant no before this
racism, not
conversation. Before this conversation, I think it was about glass ceiling or something. I can't remember.
Hitting that
like the
wall.
Yeah, there's a
just
blocker,
you know,
that blocker,
exactly,
yeah.
just hitting that wall. And I think just to add to what you said about women, you know, talking, speaking out some more, and just talking about their experiences and all of that. I think that's looking at my career, the people that have helped me the most, and I'm not saying, hey, I'm not saying that one gender has helped me more than the other, but I think at different stages in my life, you would see the men showing up, you see the women showing
Wake
up,
that
you see
up.
the men,
Same though.
yeah, you
Wake
see the
that-
men showing up.
Yeah.
I think one thing for sure is that wherever you are, always befriend somebody higher up
Yes.
that is not in your department. And I say this, especially if you work in corporate. I say this because I learned this trick from Nkiri Olimidojo. I listen to her once in a while, and she said, when the women or when people are in board meetings and you see maybe the director of some random departments is defending another person from another random department, people tend to believe that person because they don't have any reason for defending you.
Exactly.
I mean, they don't work with you, they don't manage you, but for some reason they know of your work and they can speak to it. This does not mean that you should not be doing your work and just be there sucking up to other people. But my point is that, like, as women, the odds are already against us. In so many ways. Yes, there is the advent of feminism and other things that we have in our resources at our disposal right now, but we need to be very strategic. Back to that word, we need to be very strategic about how we navigate the corporate world, about how we, just think about things, something that someone else will do and get away with it. You as a woman, you might do it and someone else is like poking holes in it, especially if you're a pretty woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a pretty woman, people already assume that you're dumb.
Yeah. Literally.
And you got
as
everything
if two
for
things
free.
cannot exist.
Exactly.
Two things cannot exist at the same time. So people already think that, oh, you don't know what you're doing here. You probably found your way somewhere here. So it's always very important to, like, network upwards as much as you're networking like this, network upwards, and especially more importantly, people that are not within your direct department. So you have people speaking about you across the entire company, whether you've worked with them or you've not worked with them. So I just wanted to add that it's been useful to me. So maybe someone.
But I wanted to also agree. Go ahead.
Well, no, go
I
ahead.
actually wanted to also say that you mentioned men help women more.
Yeah.
And I've actually noticed that in my career as well.
Yeah.
And I do also wonder, like, why is it that as women, we're not helping each other more? Is it because of competition? Is
I don't
it
think
like
we're not
what
helping
is
each other
the
more.
lack of
'Cause,
knowledge?
I
Like, what's
mean,
the issue?
like Fosa mentioned something. She said Men's Day. I mean, if you want to do Men's Day now, bring budgets. Let me do it for you. So that means, like, women, the Women's Day in the office, the women are the ones championing for it, right? So I don't think women don't help each other more because, even in Nigeria, there is Wimbid, there is Wimbiz, there is Whisker, there is Wimboard, there is, there are so many feminism or women empowerment, programs out there being run by women, which I even think leads to a little bit of an imbalance in the society right now because you don't have that equivalent for men. So I think that sometimes we just assume that, oh, because you're a woman, you should help me out. That's one assumption. Because this person is a woman, well, she should help me out. I mean, yes, there is that. We need to hold hands and sing kumbaya, but really, we're not entitled to anything. It's the person that is familiar about your work. It's the person that is, that sees something in you, a light in you, that will say, okay, let me help you. And
So
it
why
could be
is
a
it that
man,
men
it
are
could be a
seeing the
woman.
lights more than
No,
women?
back to my point that you have women that run women empowerment programs, right? So my point isn't that, oh, men help more than men or women help more than men. I think it just depends on the stage that you are in at that particular time and who you have access to and who has access to you. I don't think there is a gender that's
So I have a firm belief that that's a misogynistic lie that has been planted into women to make us feel like we don't help each other.
Yeah.
And
men help more than
and I'll give this is very, very, very noticeable in the music industry, right? And there was this is an off-camera conspiracy theory that I need to give you, but you could see, like, when we had the big pop stars, the big female pop stars back then, and the squabbles that went on. If you dig very deep, you find that the root cause of it was
Men.
very linked to a man.
Of
And they've tried to do it with Aria and Thames, but they are more self-aware and they've dispelled this misogynistic lie, because the structure is that they've only given you one space as a woman. Then they make you butt heads to make sure
fight
that
for that
only
one
you
space.
get it. And when people say, oh, women don't help women, half the time the woman is struggling where she is.
Yeah. Period.
To keep afloat. So that's why
Exactly.
she doesn't even have the time to look and say, oh, who can I help? It's like I'm still
Exactly.
trying
Trying
to
to pull myself up.
prime example, you know, Kemi Adeosun, fantastic Minister of Finance, right? Pretty much sure that if you check the reason why she was fired, it's not necessarily because of the NYSC certificates. Right? We have thieves in government that they are being voted every day. They cover them. So let's not go far. Natasha, Senator Natasha last year, right? It's unheard of. You know, this one. Our workings is in Kogi State. Like you know how mad it is for you to conspire and want to recall a senator and you pick a woman to stand and say, "We're the ones calling you back." It's all strategic, misogynistic. Like, and I in this industry, in the industry I go for, everyone that have opened the door for me without expecting anything, they're all women. And it was very easy for me to have fallen into that cycle of it's only men that were helping me. But at every point in time when I needed to step up and level up and move to the next level, it was a woman that just said, look, go, right? And consciously now, I realized that it's not like until they give me, oh, go and walk here, or this is little as, yo, Foz, I see what you're doing, you know, oh, maybe you should try like this, just random DM. And that's what I do now. I see young women that are coming into the industry, I send them random text. And I'm just like, yo, you have someone here's written for you. I don't need to be talking to you every day. But if you have any problem, holla. If I see a problem coming and I know that you're the woman, I call and be like, yo, you want to get, I will recommend services to you to help and so before I attack you. You know? So, but that's it, you know, and I just think it's the misogynistic lie.
Okay, so for me, I think help is relative. So a man could help you in an aspect.
Okay.
But the other aspects, women would help.
Absolutely.
So if you now just fix your mind on a particular help coming from particular gender, you might look away from the women. A lot of times women help. So I used to be there also thinking that women don't really support women because I had a lot of men supporting me. But the moment and PBN helped me. Okay, sorry now. You know, I think there was a time I brought that topic up, if you remember. I brought the topic up and I said, why is it that, and do you know that the moment they helped to reorientate me from that moment, I opened my mouth. I remember somebody even DM me after that time to say, you know what, you need to start opening your heart up to women. And I started opening, and since that day, it looked like it's only women in my world now. You know, and up until something as little as, oh, you just sent a deck now. Can you just, I came across your deck and, you know, and there's a woman telling me, giving me a cheat and saying, you know what, just change something. I'm going to be on the board. And, you know, so you need to tweak it. You need to put something there. And that's a woman telling me that. And a woman that is even in the same line of, you know, profession. You wouldn't expect that from a woman. You know, so the moment I began to open my mind to that fact that women can actually also support women, things began to change.
And I think that actually makes sense because I think for me, I'm looking at it more of a tech space.
Yeah.
And of course, more males in the tech space. So it makes sense. Like even my investors they're all male. But of course, I don't expect to talk to many women about AI. A lot of women are not, I'm not saying like a lot of women, but in the same tech space, it's male. So if there were more women in the tech space, of course, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's why we're relying on you.
To bring in more women.
Yeah.
Throw the ladder down.
And support more women into that space. Yeah.
I have a question before you, just to,
Oh, of course.
you know, so you work in a very corporate world, right? I'm very curious, the stereotype around how you look and the tattoos you have affected you.
So that's a good thing I work remote. So they have never seen my tattoo. So, and then how I look is just, like I said, being Black women in the U.S., of course, be Black, be pretty, and then be having confidence. They always think like I'm speaking to the bottom of the barrel or something. So then when I come with confidence, they're looking like, she probably used ChatGPT. She don't know what she really doing. And then I'm also young too, right? Yeah. So now it's like you definitely don't know what you're doing. Like so, it's just. I mean, but I did use ChatGPT most of the time. But still, how do you?
There for you to use it.
Who told you to think that I was?
And you know, I was actually going to talk about this. You know, when we started this discussion, this conversation, we're talking about. First, I was talking about the fact that a lot of people came at her because of our audacity and thought that she was brash.
Yeah.
And she came to talk about the fact that some persons look down on her because she's soft and beautiful.
Yeah.
Can you say that?
Yeah.
The contrast.
Yeah.
So if you want to become further, you would also not be accepted.
Yeah.
If
Never
Oza tries to
enough.
be like you, she would not be like, so just be
Never
yourself.
enough. Yeah.
Exactly. Identity.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I
We
like
brought
that.
it all
Brought
together.
it all together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So speaking of bringing it all together, I want to first thank you guys for coming with your unique perspectives. You guys are all powerhouses.
Thank you.
But we want to close out by just thinking about the woman that's watching this, somebody that may feel like they're in a box by the wounds. What advice would you have or to inspire them?
I think I'll start. I'll say you're not alone. Whatever you're going through, there's another woman going through it. And I feel like just open yourself more to be able to reach out and ask questions. LinkedIn is very, I don't think I probably, I'm going on holiday this week. And one of the things I'm going to do is like check all my inboxes and just figure out like, because I get a lot of mentorship requests. And that's like 2 years after. It's not like I've forgotten. It's just like I've not had time to get to it, right? So just don't deny yourself that life-changing advice or life-changing cup of coffee because you didn't reach out. You're not alone. You know, and that's one thing about the Bible says that the older women should teach the younger women, right? I feel like, especially for millennials, we have a lot of work to help the Gen Zs. They've been very ostracized, very condemned, but it's such a bold generation that will lead us to, I feel will lead us to the promised land. And we've done the work of clearing the path for them and trying to figure out this mess of a thing. Reach out, have conversation, reach out. Women are more accessible than you think. Just reach out. That's my own advice.
So for me, I would say the first thing is be delusional, right? You have to be delusional. Like you just in this world, if you think you're going to get that Lamborghini, trust me, you're going to get it. But God does not reward laziness. So yeah, you can't be delusional and lazy. Like you have to actually put the work in. And of course, this is not a man's world. It's a woman's world. Men just are they're our followers. We're the leaders. I don't care what the Bible says. I don't care what nobody says. We run this. Without us, there will be no man. If you really think about it. So yeah, that's what I would say. Just be delusional.
I love that. I'll jump in really quick. I'm gonna say ask well. And the Bible says, asking you shall receive. Like I checked God's track record in my life. He hasn't failed me yet.
Absolutely.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
He doesn't lie.
He doesn't lie.
Absolutely. I think in addition to what you ladies have said, one thing for sure is to better yourself. I think it ties back to being delusional. Like bet on yourself. Wake up every morning and bet on yourself and say, okay, this is the dream. 100% I believe that I'm going to get to that dream. How might not be clear, but I believe in taking the little steps that will get me there. And even if people don't see the vision with you, even if people don't believe in you, it's very important that you are rooted in who you are, right? And you keep betting on yourself. And another thing too is to surround yourself with community that's have the same value system like you. It's so important that all you guys have the same value system, because again the baseline is now the same. So even if you're having a misunderstanding and all of us, the baseline is Christianity, we can always refer to the Bible to figure it out. If I need advice and the baseline is Christianity or whatever it is the baseline is for you, really. But it's really important that you wake up every morning, you bet on yourself, and then you surround yourself with people that can pour into you and that you can also pour into as well.
So two things. Number one, I'll say stop fighting what you have. So a lot of times women fight. I mean, my husband says this every time. I don't mind you leading, babe. I'll follow you. Go make us some money.
Yes.
I don't mind. And it's so beautiful because it keeps saying, women, I see you guys fighting what you have. A lot of men, I don't know, maybe all men, but I know that a lot of men don't mind, And so I keep telling us that, and I'm talking to that younger woman out there watching this, stop fighting what you have. You have it all. Just enjoy it, enjoy being you. And number two, I'll say don't self-judge. don't self-judge. Somewhere in the book of James, sorry, I'm quoting the Bible, it said, do you not know that ye are gods? So if no one is judging you, why are you judging yourself? Don't self-judge. Don't look at yourself and say, I don't know, I don't think anything good can come out of me. How go? I used to act and they said, oh, the word is just acting is just for fair people. And we saw a lot of dark people going to bleach and tone themselves just because they want to be fair. They said the word of if you're dark, the camera, the lighting, you take too much light and all of that. So these are very social nonsense that a lot of persons have absorbed. So I'll say number one, know who you are, don't self-judge, don't allow thought voices to settle in you. Just self-talk. It works. It's one of the things we recommend even in our therapy room, that talk to yourself. Tell yourself, I can do it. Tell yourself, I am this, I'm beautiful, I am the best. It doesn't matter what every other person does. Other people can come made up. Fuza is here, she's not making up. And she's beautiful, So that self-concept is very important. If you don't say I am, nobody will say thou art.
Oh, Pastor Tish.
Pastor Tish.
I need to open a church for you.
So to the woman at home, you are more than enough. May you continue to be bold. May you continue to take up space. Wow. What we've heard today reminds us that gender norms don't just shape behavior, they shape confidence, opportunity, and how safe we feel being ourselves. Challenging them isn't always loud. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's exhausting, and often it's deeply personal. This conversation isn't about being harder or softer to fit in. It's about becoming whole without apology. When women are allowed to lead, to feel, to speak, and to exist fully, the world doesn't lose balance, it gains honesty. And the work continues in our homes and in our workplaces. This is Unspoken.